Hello. Yes, I want to continue my discussion where I stopped. I was looking at the introduction to motivation, and then I mentioned that I'll be moving forward and look at the first theory on motivation, and that is the Abraham Maslow theory, the hierarchy of needs theory. So, this is a very familiar theory which I've covered in other disciplines, especially psych. And if you remember that Abraham Maslow came up with this theory, and based on the theory, he categorized or he ranked needs uh, five five classes. And that is the at the lower end we have the physiological needs, and then we have the safety needs, and then the other order is the social, the ego, and then of course the self-actualization needs. Now if you remember, according to the theory, is what motivates individual is basically a higher order need. So in other words, in this case, what's going to motivate an individual or an employee, of course, is going to be a lower level need. But once you achieve these needs, it ceases to be a motivator. So, what drives you to do again more is going to be a higher level need, which in this case is going to be a safety need. And once you achieve the safety need, it ceases to be a motivator. What's going to drive you is going to be a higher level, which in this case is going to be social needs, and on and on and on. So, the question we try to ask ourselves is how relevant this theory can be applied to management or to an organization. And to understand this, let's just look at what constitute those needs based on the hierarchy of needs theory. So people have needs, and when one need again is fulfilled, other needs emerge, and that's why again you go through that order from physiological needs and you move up. So what makes up the physiological needs is water, food, shelter, clothing. So again, once you achieve this, what's going to motivate, drive you is going to be the safety needs, or what we call the security needs. And this could be either safety from the elements and the enemies at work. So it could be safe working environment, safe equipment or machinery. And then what after you achieve this, what motivates you will be the love needs, which could be desire for love, affection, and belonging, and on and on. And then, of course, uh, we think about the application of this theory to a business setting or to organization. So, and keep in mind that beyond the physical and safety needs, again, the truth, again, we think about it, it becomes complex, it becomes difficult as a leader, as a manager, to try to predict what is going to motivate your team or your employees. It's very easy for us to see the physiological needs and the safety needs. But above that point, it is really tough for us to see what is the next level, what's going to drive you. And the reason, the simple reason, of course, is you'll find what motivates people after these safety needs is just going to vary, is going to be different based on the individual. And because we can't understand fully what drives these people, so it becomes hard for us to be able to make to understand this. So we can motivate, if you have to apply this theory, that we can motivate employees by providing some kind of monetary rewards, by making sure that the working environment is safe, by again maintaining the equipment, the machinery to be in a good condition for the safety of the employees. We think about also the health insurance benefits we provide to employees, the end of year parties or celebrations, or even birthday celebrations. It could be promoting a healthy competition at the workplace. So you'll find this is just some of the ways we can apply the Abraham Maslow theory at the workplace. And I want you to think about this example I always use, and that is the episode of Undercover Boss that you watch on TV. And if you remember, when the CEO of the organization goes undercover, he is able to discover so many things. For example, you'll find he discovers that there's some great employees working for the organization working for the organizations that basically go unrecognized. And again, through that series, you are able to see some of these employees, and the CEO is able to appreciate and recognize these employees. It's also true that through the undercover boss, for example, the CEO is able to uh, uh, discover some employees that maybe are going through some hardship, some problems, and is able to provide some support. Again, that support you provide to employees, it becomes a big motivation to those employees. For example, it could be they're trying to go to school, they do there are financial difficulties, and the CEO is able to provide some scholarship or some funding for those employees. That becomes a big incentive to those employees. Or it could be, family problems, and you're able to find a solution to those employees. That becomes a big motivation. The other way you also through the episode is we understand where, for example, you also find employees who are not doing their best, and for some reason you're able to understand why that's the case, and you find maybe a solution to what you can do as a CEO to try to change their attitudes towards work, and of course try to make sure they also do their best. Either way, it becomes a good experience, a great learning tool for the CEO to try to find what needs to be done, what are some of the changes that needs to be done in the organization for the benefit of the employees involved, and of course for the rest of the employees, and also for the benefit of the organization. So feel free to find some of these episodes, and take time to watch them and use them as a reflection on this particular chapter, and you'll find that a motivation or incentives becomes a key element of trying to motivate employees. So think about that, and I'll be following up on my next video, my next series, which is going to be on the next uh, theory uh, on motivation, and that will be the Herzberg two-factor theory. And you'll find this theory surprisingly, because you'll find some techniques, for example, some tools like salary increase is not really a motivator according to the theory, and that will surprise you. So I look forward discussing that theory in my next video, and see you in the next discussion. Thank you.